And that's pretty much it for the strawberries for this year, I'm afraid. In fact, Stan's going to dig up the patch and plant something else there, maybe sweet potatoes. So, not enough to do much with, except maybe make a batch of strawberry rhubarb sauce. It helps sweeten up the rhubarb sauce a little bit, and it gives it a really pretty color. I'm going to show you how to pick rhubarb. I don't need much for the sauce, only about 3 or 4 cups. It's not as crispy as it was a month ago, but we've had plenty of rain and cool temperatures. If you see down here, just pull it up from the stalk like that, and then I'll cut off the leaves. So, oh, these are actually pretty nice here. It's better than I thought they'd be. It doesn't really matter if they're pink or green. It's not like, oh, pink is ripe and green is not ripe. Okay, I have plenty now here. I'm going to wash these up real good and cut off the end. Probably cut a little bit off the other end. If they cut really easily, you know they're still tender. If they don't cut easily, then they're not really good to be used anymore. These are really red, much redder than the earlier stuff was. So if I use that plus this about cup of smashed strawberries that I picked today, this is going to make a really pretty sauce. Okay, I've got the rhubarb all cleaned, and like I said, it's beautiful. You just chop it up pretty much like you would chop celery. Oh, I don't need this end on here. Let's get rid of that. I'm using my brother Rick's dangerous knife again, and you know what? Even though these are technically a vegetable, this knife is making me nervous. I'm gonna go back to my other knife that I feel a little bit more comfortable with. Sorry, Rick, this is my rhubarb knife. We're going to stick with that. And you might be wondering, can you eat rhubarb plain? Well, I took this into school, and some of my students thought it was celery because it was like the more green stuff. And can you eat it plain? Yeah, you can eat it plain. Is it good? It's really sour. It's really sour and chewy, and you feel like you want to suck out all the juice and then spit out the rest. Maybe with salt, but this is not what we're going to do with it. We're going to make it something fantastic and good to eat. So let's chop this up. Right here. If I was making it into, say, rhubarb pie or rhubarb bars, which is like a rhubarb custard pie, only on a 13 by 9 pan. Anyway, if I was cutting it that, I would dice it. We're just cooking this up. It's not going to matter, so I'm not going to dice it. Remember, always keep your fingers curved under, This is cutting through really, really nicely, and so I know that it's going to be tender. Isn't this funny how this is called Valentine, I think, the variety of rhubarb. Even though it's red on the outside, it is really, really green on the inside. I need 4 cups of this. What do you think? Does that look like 4 cups? I don't think so. I don't think quite. Of course, I could be wrong. I was wrong about the strawberries the other day. And this is 3 cups. Let's keep going. A little bit more. I'm not going to use the really green stuff on the end if I don't have to. Yeah, I don't chop really fast because, well, you know, I value my fingers. And I don't want to cut my fingers off. Okay. I think this looks good. I know these stalks are a lot smaller than what you'd see in the, it's like in the farmer's market where you see really, really thick stalks. When my stalks get that thick, they get woody, so that must be a different variety. We're good to go. We've got our 4 cups of rhubarb, and we have our cup of strawberries, and I'll take these over to the stove and show you what to do with them. This is not the way that my mom or my great Aunt Bessie made rhubarb. I mean, sauteing it first in coconut oil, that sounds crazy, but it's actually really, really good. And it looks like the coconut oil is melted enough yet. I'm going to dump in the rhubarb, and I'll just keep stirring that. Okay, I've added the rhubarb, and according to my recipe, I'm going to have to stir this for about 5 minutes. It's a little tricky to do one-handed. So the coconut oil is there in the bottom. You're just sauteing it like you'd saute, I don't know, like you'd saute onion or something. It says to cook it for 5 minutes, so I will set my timer. I had to look back at my recipe. It's been a while since I've made this from fresh rhubarb. Usually this is how I use up my frozen rhubarb. And I actually can't add the sugar right now. So we're going to do that. We're going to add the sugar right now. And keep stirring it. This is about 2 minutes into the process, and what you'll see is the rhubarb is making its own liquid. Yeah, I added no water to this at all. No water whatsoever. It was just straight up rhubarb, that coconut oil, and the 1/3 cup of sugar. We are 4 minutes in, and if you'll notice, it's starting to look a lot more like sauce and a lot less like raw rhubarb. But I want all of this rhubarb to be cooked. I don't want any chewy pieces, so we're going to keep going. It says another minute. I think it's going to take another 2 or 3 minutes. I've only lost 2 pieces of rhubarb overboard. That's not too bad for me. You'll see it's getting thick. Some recipes I've seen call for making a thickening with cornstarch and water. No, you don't need that. This will thicken up nicely itself, and when you put it in the refrigerator, it will thicken up even more. I'm not going to add the strawberries to it until it's completely cooked and taken off the heat, and then we'll also add about a ½ teaspoon of vanilla. Actually, I think that my timer is just about ready to go off here. I think that the 5 minutes was perfect. This looks good. I'll turn that off. And the sauce that I made earlier in the spring, at this point, was green. So I'm not sure if it's the sunshine or what has made this rhubarb so much redder, but this is pretty even without the strawberries. You'll see what it looks like once I add the strawberries to it. Okay, I've got the vanilla over here, you can see, and I've got the strawberries. We will just stir that up. The residual heat will cook the strawberries a little bit, not too much. I will put this in one of my quart jars. Oh, it smells really good. I'll put this in one of my quart jars, and this will keep in the refrigerator for, a good week. And I eat it sometimes just with my homemade Greek yogurt. It's also really, really good as a topping for pancakes or waffles, or that'd probably be good with ice cream too. Now let's see, how did my grandpa used to eat this? Oh, this will make milk curdle, but he used to take toast or dried pieces of bread, I'm thinking, put the rhubarb sauce on top of it, pour milk on it, and eat it real quickly before the milk curdles. I've done that myself. I had some bread that I dried out yesterday, so I thought I might as well show you what this looks like, the rhubarb sauce on. Now, if you used fresh bread and put cream with it, then it would be like rhubarb Stürm instead of strawberry Stürm. But here we're going to put this on some dried breadcrumbs, like that. And now I'm going to pour some milk over it, and we'll see what it tastes like. Okay, even though it looks like the milk is starting to curdle a little bit, I am going to eat this because I think it's wonderful. In fact, this is the way that we used to eat apple dumplings at home too. We didn't eat apple dumplings with ice cream, never. Here's how you ate apple dumplings. You put an apple dumpling, a nice warm apple dumpling in the bowl, you poured milk over it, you sprinkled it with nutmeg, and you ate it just like that. In case you're not believing me that I'm actually going to eat this, it's really good. Rhubarb strawberry Stürm. You don't have to eat it like this. Like I said, you can, don't talk with your mouth full. It's great. It's actually really good. But if that's not your cup of tea, eat it on top of ice cream, eat it on top of waffles or pancakes. But if you've got rhubarb handy, this is good stuff. Okay, and I'll show you the recipe here one more time. If you'll see on the top, it does say add bread cubes and half for Stürm, which is what you saw me eating. Until next time, this is Lori Fichter.